Hey there, welcome back to another Step It Up Stamping. My name is Barb Brimhall, also known as the BZB Stamper. And in Step It Up Stamping, we make 3 cards with 1 bundle from beginner to advanced. And I show you how easy it is to step up your stamping when you want to. Okay, so today we are using the Notes and Totes Bundle. This is a perfect set for the summer, but you really can use it all year round. I love the sentiments in this bundle. It makes it very easy to make easy cards, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. But I wanted to point out a couple of things on the dies. If you look in the lower right-hand corner, that die is the one that makes a fence. And I wanted to point that out to you because we're going to be using that. And when I first got this bundle, I was like, I'm not quite sure what that is. So I wanted to point that out to you. And then the items on the left are for the little tote, the die tote that comes in this bundle. Okay. Let's get started making our first super easy card. This is what I like to call the Busy Bee card. It's designed for beginner stampers or card makers who just need a card in a hurry. And I know we've all been there, right? I love the colors on this card. The card base is fresh Freesia. And then I've added the absolutely gorgeous Thoughtful Journey designer paper. Personally, I feel that on all 3 of these cards, the designer paper is really front and center. It's what kind of makes this card. It's a combination of the colors and the really pretty sentiments. But I'm going to hold this card up because I used the Thoughtful Journey paper on the front, but then I also used it as a mat behind the sentiment. Instead of using cardstock, it gives more of a variation in color, which I think really makes this card. Now, the sentiment is done in fresh Freesia ink. 1 cardstock, 1 paper, 1 ink pad. Doesn't get much easier than that, okay? And don't forget that I have complete instructions for you that has pictures of all 3 cards, what supplies were used, and step-by-step instructions. So if you want those, you can find the link to the tutorial in the comments below. Okay, so now that we've got that super easy card done, let's bring in our worker bee card. Now this card, let me get this out of the way. This card is for a more confident card maker, not necessarily experienced, but definitely someone that knows their way around a paper cutter. Because for this card, I'm not using the dies. I'm using the Thoughtful Journey paper, is still front and center. And this time we're just using a larger piece. And then what I used for the sentiment background here, the sentiment mat, now I'm using for the fence. So you actually get a better look at that paper. Isn't that cool? And in this case, I just cut strips of the paper. I didn't use the die. And then I just cut, I believe these are 1/2 inch and these are 1/4 inch. I'm not sure. It's in the instructions. And then I didn't mat the sentiment. You could if you wanted, but instead I just overlapped it with the fence to kind of draw your eye to it. So I didn't feel that it really needed a mat underneath it. And then at the bottom, I love these gems. They're the holographic gems, and they just pick up whatever color is in the paper. They're very cool. Okay. So not hard, just a lot of cutting. So if you know your way around a paper trimmer, then you will be in good shape. Okay. You could do a lot of these. Just cut all your strips in advance and then go to town. All right, now let's bring in the Queen Bee card. And this one this week is really over the top. This is for experienced card makers, for sure. Now, the funny thing is, in some ways, this card is easier than our worker bee card because these were all cut with a paper trimmer. These were die cut. That's why I showed you the die cut fence in advance. Now, I do want to let you know that I did fussy cut out the sentiment with scissors. But you could always just use that as a plain strip if you don't want to cut out the sentiment. It's pretty easy to do because this font is so big. I'm going to hold these up so I think you'll be able to see. Can you see the embossing that those dies do? I think if you look right here and right here, you'll see it. So the fun thing about using the die cuts is it does all that hard work for you, and it really makes it look like a fence. If you do it in white, you could really see it. This is more of a darker color, but you could still see it. So this is kind of a fun fold. It's a very simple fun fold. And so I went with the sentiment, relax and enjoy. You earned it. And then I just stamped some of the floral image all across the bottom of the cardstock. Again, fresh Freesia ink, only one ink pad. But guys, this is not the end of this card, and more of the gems along the bottom. What I was going for here, in case you're wondering, was sort of a beachy feel. And I felt like these holographic dots really worked with the paper. But this isn't the end of the Queen Bee card. I made a tote. And you can hang this tote on one of the fence posts. How fun is that? And this tote is designed as a gift card holder. You could put a spa gift card in it. You could put money in it. You could do whatever you want. But I love that you could just put that on the fence post, which is why I did the fence posts on Stampin' Dimensionals. And again, I've got all those instructions for you. This comes together way quicker than you would think. You die cut. I did fresh Freesia for the actual tote. And then you just die cut all these pieces. And they are on both sides. So you need to cut 2 of the tote and 2 of these. And then you can do them on both sides. Now, I want to point out the sunglasses because they're so fun. So I'm going to lift them up. Can you see how these shine? Can you see how the lenses shine? The dies have it so that you can cut out the heart sunglasses in white. And then I cut them out again in the textured metallic paper, which is what gives it that kind of, it looks like your glasses have scratches on them. And a lot of my sunglasses do. And then these 2 pieces, I kind of call that the scarf die. These are 2 pieces and they're cut out of the Thoughtful Journey designer paper. It looks really difficult, but it's actually very easy. And what I love about this, again, is that not only is it a fun card that they'll keep, but your gift card holder is perfect. And you just stick it in there, stick it on the card, send it in an envelope, and you're good to go. Who would not love this? And I think the colors, I know not everybody's into purple. I'm really into purple and blues. You could do this in any color. So you could pick whatever designer paper you want. Just make sure it's pretty neutral. Again, what I was going for here was kind of a sunrise or sunset at the beach. And I just think this card is so much fun. And depending on where you put this, I'm going to do it here. It can also hold your card shut. You just kind of put it over the sentiment. Okay. So I would love to know in the comments below, what is your favorite and what would you be most likely to make? We've got our Busy Bee beginner card, or quick and easy card, I should say. We've got our worker bee for someone who wants to do a little bit more work. And then we've got our, I would say over the top. This is an over the top Queen Bee card, which I just love. And it's all the paper, the tote, the gift card, everything about it. I love. I don't know how many of these I would make. It's not that hard. It just takes a little bit of time. And the reason why it's not that hard is because obviously the Notes and Totes dies do all the hard work for you. Okay. All right, my friends, I'll be back next week with another Step It Up stamping. Can't wait to see you then. Have a creative week. Bye.